morning. This is Kara, Ministry of Uncovering It More. I was just at a red light, so excuse me for a second as I get resettled, safely driving. It was 11:33 turning to 11:44 when I was at a red light, giving the finger to Bannockburn Baptist Church. Because if I went into that parking lot, put my makeup on, which I'm about to do, but not go in there, I've got another place I would rather go. We've canceled church, a good many of us, in this day and age. If I was gonna walk into that fucking place, I wonder how many people would be in those pews, not 6 feet apart, including their kids, not wearing masks. Children's church, Sunday school, you name it. I'm just wondering. And then I'm going to ask you, America, what exactly is freedom of religion? What exactly is freedom to bear arms? What exactly is freedom of speech? And I am not going to listen to your answers after what you've put this country through. Primarily Republicans, but not all of them. Primarily Republicans. As it concerns taking care of one another during a pandemic. I am going to remind the United States of America this morning, as I continue safely on my way, that I have agreement on one thing: declaring the pandemic a state of war in the United States of America. Congress, are you listening to me? Because then we can mandate masks and vaccination of adults, with stipulations of different and varying safe things for people who need to be isolated anyway. Now, it ain't gonna be true democratic state of war on the pandemic if you don't put boundaries saying this will be effective through, I would suggest that the state of war mandate end with this presidency of Joe Biden. I'm going to say one more fucking thing for 2024, is it? When we start the next voting cycle for the president is what I'm talking about. We need all new candidates. I don't fucking care if they're progressive or not, because progressives are hotheads a lot of times. But when it comes to the safety of the United States of American citizenry, when it comes to the actual questions that I just asked, that you will not necessarily answer accurately in the United States of America as one citizen or another, and then again you might. I don't know. Sometimes I think it depends on what fucking mood you're in because of what media you've watched or what news you've watched, or whether or not your team won that season. See, that's the problem with Americans. What do you want to call that? Citizenry? What exactly do you want to call that? A cacophony of error is what I have called it for years. Yes, because those are good questions, and the only answer to any question like that is what is best for the youngest to the oldest and the poorest to the most affluent is what we in a democracy should be pontificating for, discussing for, realizing in policy making for. I'm in Texas. I am in Texas, America. Pediatric wards are filling up. Do not give me your bullshit about how the children don't need to be masked. And that from, say, 16 on up, public, private, homeschools, I don't care. Again, a homeschool is considered a private school in Texas. So I'm talking real shit here. 16 and above, why don't we go on and vaccinate those children of our own free will as parents who love the entire country, not just the billionaires, not just the Republicans, not just the Democrats. We don't just love our own whatever. Okay? It's something to think about. But you sound mad, Kara. We don't want to listen. Okay. Fine. But I am tired of my children suffering because of your bullshit, America. My daughter's education should be all paid for. My future children who are going to be 18 and above should have the ability to go to any kind of school to further their education without facing more bills. My daughters should not have to say, I don't want to be like my mother, because she gave up her income to come home and not be paid when I should at least be paid minimum wage and have full insurance for me and my children as a responsible adult, whether I am male or female. I know what home health care is, let me tell you. I haven't been paid a red cent, and I have been betrayed and blamed for years for things I didn't do. I've got liars still in my midst that I have to say, okay, in your world, please forgive me for causing you some stress when they don't want to admit the stress that they've caused me at all, period. So you go take your opinions about people like me and you stuff it where the sun don't shine. I am chocked full of other people's opinions as a responsible adult in the United States of America. I don't give one shit for your opinions. I do care about you and your children, and I have made that very clear and will continue to do so. But I'm about to go into a place and just try to focus on forgetting that I live in this godforsaken country. Now, would you please listen to somebody who knows what I'm talking about and just think about it and try to begin to alter your day-to-day decisions. We don't actually understand what freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom to bear arms, all of these main things, we don't actually understand what that means for the safety of the whole population. Or we wouldn't have to have public school children facing possibly getting COVID, possibly not being able to wear a mask, and possibly having a school shooting this year that lawmakers aren't taking seriously, both statewide and nationwide. Okay, we wouldn't have school children doing that, facing that, being that. And you don't want to call this pandemic a war thing, okay? You're crazy. All of you policymakers are crazy. You're just crazy assholes wasting time. Okay. Have a good day. I mean that. I'm still here. I'm still writing poetry, arting. I could write books. I'm about to read my third book that actually made publication and was destroyed the same month that orange ass DJT sat himself in the White House as a criminal. I'm going to read the whole book and put it on a blog so you can hear what I actually had to say that is positive about you and your children, America. And you won't even thank me. You haven't thanked me my whole life. And millions of us in this country are used to your treatment of us as nobodies. I've already written the poem, and it's going to be transferred into a book. I've already written the poem about how we're nobodies. I think it's on Twitter right now, one of my accounts. So it's got to be transferred to a book before I hit delete on it. So that means it's not going on blogs. So you're going to have to trust me, America, that I do really love you, and that I'm going to continue to pray. I don't pray, invoke for you. I have a beautiful library now where I can do some of my readings of poetry and whatnot. So I'm starting to have some communities that actually get it about universalism in my life. I'm 55. My oldest is 30. My youngest is 13. Please don't expect me to be all fluffy cloud poetry person. I'm going to keep it before you that you have some work to do in interpretation in your own life, whether you're rich or poor, black or white, brown, young, old. Some of these old traditions have got to be dropped for the sake of all of our children. Please think with me. Please pontificate with me. Please be willing to grow. Growth is always painful, but it's worth it for future generations and for our own happiness, all at the same time. This is Kara of the Ministry of Uncovering